Wait, have you ever heard of the prophet Elisha? This guy was basically the superhero of the Old Testament, inheriting the cloak and the power of Elisha. And let me tell you, Elisha didn't waste any time showing what he could do. His life was packed with jaw-dropping, impossible miracles. One of his earliest and most famous acts involved a group of young prophets who were preparing a meal. They went out to gather herbs and roots, but one accidentally picked up some wild gourds which were highly toxic. As soon as the gourds were tossed into the pot, everyone who tasted the stew cried out, "Man of God, there is death in the pot." Now, imagine that panic. What did Elisha do? Did he panic? Nope. He calmly asked for some flour. He tossed the handful of flour into the pot, stirred it up, and instantly, the stew was perfectly safe and delicious. Talk about turning poison into sustenance. It wasn't a scientific fix. It was pure divine intervention, proving that even in simple daily dangers, God provides a remedy. Then there's the incredible story of the poor widow facing crushing debt. Her husband had died, and the creditor was coming to take her 2 sons as slaves to settle the account. She was distraught, totally hopeless. Elisha asked her, "What do you have in the house?" Her answer was heartbreakingly simple: nothing but a jar of oil. Elisha then gave her an unbelievable instruction. Go borrow empty jars, as many as you possibly could, from all your neighbors. Then, she was to start pouring the small amount of oil she had into the borrowed jars. She and her sons started pouring these, and the oil just kept flowing and flowing. It didn't stop until every single jar was full. She sold the oil, paid off the debt, and she and her sons lived on the rest. That wasn't just a loan payoff. That was multiplication on a scale only God could manage, turning one tiny resource into abundant provision. You can't talk about Elisha without mentioning the Shunammite woman. This wealthy woman, recognizing Elisha's holiness, insisted on building him a little room attached to her house so he could rest whenever he passed through. She showed him incredible hospitality. Elisha, wanting to repay her kindness, realized she was childless. He promised her that within a year, she would hold a son in her arms. She did. But tragedy struck years later, and the boy died suddenly. In absolute grief, she raced to find Elisha. When Elisha arrived at her home, he went straight into the room where the child was laid, closed the door, and prayed intensely. He lay on the boy, mouth to mouth, eyes to eyes, hand to hand, until gradually, the child's body warmed. The boy sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes. Elisha had brought him back to life. These stories aren't just ancient folklore. They show us a God who intervenes in the mundane, the desperate, and the tragic moments of our lives. Elisha's God is the same God today. What impossibility do you need him to fix? Like and subscribe if you want to see more powerful Bible stories.